What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Two Guys Watching Football, where we're going to do something a little bit differently because I think you're all sick of watching me do mock drafts. I know I'm sick of doing mock drafts. So what we're going to do is called Mock Draft Mania. So what I did today, I put a tweet out there. I said, basically, send me your best mock draft, and we'll throw them up and we'll grade them. And I'm thinking when I put it, I was like, maybe, get like 10, 15. That thread got like 95 replies. So unfortunately, I don't have every single one that was sent to me. So I'm probably going to go back through, and anybody that sent one in that doesn't get on here, I'll reply to the tweet. But this is a poor way of doing this process, but it really dawned on me. So as I went through and graded them, and what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen here. We'll go through each one, and then I'm going to pop the grade up after I give a little bit of a summary. And so I go through and I grade all of them, and I got done, and I was like, I think I'm being too nice, or everyone's just really good at doing these. And I mean, we've been practicing these for 3 months, so there is that aspect. So I sent them to Yuri, and I see Yuri's down in the comments. And I was like, can you go through and give me kind of a grade and send it to me? Because I was like, I don't know if I'm just like, being too polite. But he sends me back his kind of results, and they were pretty similar. So then I kind of was thinking about it, and I was like, so why are the grades? Because I mean, everyone basically did a B or better. Like there was a couple of C's, a couple of A's, but it was pretty much B or better. So this led me to my conclusion that I'm going to give you guys prior to actually going through them. When you have this many picks in the top 4 rounds specifically, it's really, really hard to not come away feeling pretty good about your haul. You can always look at better positional value. Of course, there's ways they can screw this up. It's certainly possible, but it's almost next to impossible to go through 4 rounds with 5, 7, I guess it's 9 of their 10 picks in the top 140 and not have a good haul. So I thought that was interesting because I never really thought about it. And I did tweet the other day because I have a buddy that's a Cowboys fan. And he was like, do a mock draft with the Cowboys in mind. And so you're doing it. And I think they have a 4th round comp pick. So you have 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. And the hauls that you get just feel so much different because you're not hitting as many quote unquote holes. But when you do it for the Ravens and you have that many picks, especially that many picks in the 4th round, where I think we all feel good about some of these 4th round guys. We've seen it before where you can go through a 4th round. I think it was 2016 where they had all those forests and nothing really panned out. But when you come away from a draft, you're still going to feel pretty good about those guys. So that was kind of a fun takeaway I wanted to share before I get into it. Because I just thought it was interesting to go through this exercise and kind of come away being like, it's hard to really feel like they can't screw this up. And then again, we can talk about, they should have done this, they should have done that, trades, whatnot. And Dan's down in the comments below, and Dan's made this point before, one of the issues with trading back is, yes, you do get more value. But with this much ammo, I think you want to see more trading up and getting their guys, getting some of those falling studs. And so I think that kind of comes out in some of the grades we're going to look at. There's a couple of A's that, it was an aggressive trade up, but the reason I thought it was still such a good draft was because of how they rounded it out. So let's get into it. So what I'm going to do, I'll go through, I'm going to give a summary of the draft, kind of what I liked, what I didn't like, give a final grade. As I show it, you guys take a look, drop a comment down below with what your grade is, and let's kind of compare. And so, everybody, we got 22 people in here right now. Everyone do me a favor. Look just to the bottom right. You see that like button? Click it. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. So let's get into it. So the first one here is from Shoal for Real. So you'll see, let me know in the chat if you guys can't see this very well. I can always, take my face off and make it bigger. So they started with a trade here, and they traded down with the Chargers, and they end up with Andy Booth. So I think, off the cuff, you're feeling pretty good about that 1st round pick. Then they get into the 2nd round, and they get Nick Benito, that edge rusher, twitched up speed rusher out of Oklahoma. And then they they traded back twice. So they traded back with the Chargers, grabbed an extra 3rd and a 4th, then traded down again which gives you some serious 2018 Hayden Hurst vibes, where they traded down twice, but they still get Andy Booth, and I think we all like him. But what was interesting here is you do pick up a lot of that mid-round capital. I mean, they have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's just so many picks that it's overwhelming. But they come around way with some pretty good players. You get the edge rusher in Benito, then you pair it with a Malone and a Dominique Robinson, and a Christopher Allen at the end. You just added 4 guys. I think this is kind of showing you how you can almost have too many picks in a draft. So then they add the linebacker at Oklahoma, which I think is a good fit. It's a nice Mike fit. They get a slot in Marcus Jones. They add Salyer, Hayes, and Kellen Diesch, which is interesting because I think Salyer can compete right away at center, also provide depth at 5 positions. He played all 5 during his time at Georgia, but then you're getting the true left tackle ability in Kellen Diesch. They had Strong, Bellinger, Matt Butler in there. So overall, I gave this one a B-. And so the reason I was a little bit lower on this draft was I just with that many picks, I would have liked to see more packaging with some of those 4th, and I guess it would be, they picked up an extra 3rd. I just would have liked to see another move up at some point. I don't think we need this many picks. So that's kind of where I stood on that one. I'm a little bit lower on it. Someone just asked, what are thoughts on Diesch? So Diesch is a weird one because he is a true kind of zone tackle. So you might initially think, Cole, what are you talking about? You always kind of go down on zone guys, and in a way I do. But when it comes to my left tackle, I am way more prioritized with their pass protection than their run blocking ability. So if take Ronnie Stanley for example, Ronnie Stanley is a better fit in a zone blocking run scheme, but he's pass protector. He's your left tackle. So I'm a little bit less concerned about the run blocking. You're not going to see the Ravens run a whole lot of gap concepts to the left side. They just haven't done that. Nikhil, quit causing trouble in the comments down there. And then I got this next one here from Festivus Max 52. So we go Jordan Davis. And so I didn't mention this up front. I asked people to use the Draft Network. Some people sent PFF. I don't mind PFF and the Draft Network. There's some weird ranks, like Jermaine Johnson is you can trade back to 29 and still get them. So that one's a weird outlier. Other than that, the rankings are pretty similar. It's when you start using PFN and whatnot that I'm not a big fan because your draft classes are unrealistic. So you'll see a mixture between the Draft Network and PFF, but they're relatively similar. I think people want to use PFF so they could do trades if they don't pay for TDN premium. So fair enough. So this actually looks like a stick and pick with the TDN board. So we get Jordan Davis in round 1, Arnold Ebiketie at 45, Leo Chanel, Nick Benito, Josh Joby, Pierce Mitchell, Bryant Juergens late, and then Justin Ross. So I gave this one a B+. And, I've seen a lot of people say this, and I do believe in it. I was kind of down on the corner situation in this one, and I was kind of going between a B and a B+. But I'd expect in this situation that they're going to probably add a vet corner. I'm happy enough with some of the vet corners out there that I think you can get a guy to really help you out. I also believe Stevens can be that guy at slot, so you're really filling in depth. And they add Jobe, who is a great fit, can be an inside-outside guy, and they got Kobe Bryant, who's a good developmental guy. So they kind of saved themselves with those two. But going Davis and then turning around and getting Ebiketie and Benito, it's two kind of different types of pass rushers, which I really liked. It's kind of a power rusher versus a true speed guy. Leo Chanel felt like a luxury pick, and so you'll kind of see this in my comments throughout these as I go through these mocks. It's you can usually afford to use one luxury pick with your first 4 in the top 3 rounds. When you do 2, which I think Jordan Davis and Leo Chanel are kind of luxury picks. Defensive line isn't the biggest need, in my opinion, in the interior. I think edge rusher, corner, tackle are bigger needs. But it was the way this draft rounded out. They still were able to get a Max Mitchell and a Cam Juergens to kind of come into the O-line room, even though you waited till the 4th round. I actually feel pretty good about that. I'm obviously much higher on Max Mitchell than most. So I like the way this rounded out, and getting those 2 corners and also getting Cam Juergens. And they even took a third luxury pick in a Justin Ross. And so you'll hear me. There's a few mocks tonight that has Ross, and I like Ross as a pick because the Ravens in their wide receiver history never could really take risks at wide receiver. They were never in that position. It was always, we need guys to get in there and start right away. I don't think they're in that position anymore. They have Bateman, they have Hollywood. Those are two locked in, ready to go week one starters pending health. And then they have a really healthy competition for the slot/Z role where they'll kind of move guys around. So Justin Ross is kind of a lottery ticket where you're kind of gambling on someone recovering from an injury that provides that true X ability. So I like that as kind of a lottery ticket pick. So it's nice that the Ravens are finally in a position where they can kind of take a gamble at a wide receiver that's not going to come in and we're expecting, Jaleel Scott and Jordan Lasley to be impact players right away. So kudos to them for building that capacity up. So we get into this next one. I was shocked with these first two picks. They go, with kind of a 1-tech, 3-tech with another 1-tech, maybe 3-tech, mostly 2-eye, but they go with kind of two big heavies. And then they add an Abraham Lucas, who I'm really low on. I just see him as a right tackle only. They go Jelani Woods, who I do like, Armour Davis, Dominique Robinson's their only edge rusher in this one. That was kind of something that turned me off. I guess you could look at Jesse Luketa and say he is an edge rusher, so that's a fair point. Maybe this would be looked at as there's your power rusher, there's your speed rusher, Robinson. And then they add Zion McCollum, nice developmental corner. I love Pierre Strong, and Luke Waltenberg's a center out of Washington, more of a zone scheme guy, but still, was able to address a center. So I gave this one a C-. I just think, that's way too much investment at kind of the interior defensive line. I'd like to see more of another, unless you see Jordan Davis as just a 3-tech. You now have Michael Pierce, Jordan Davis, Travis Jones that are going to be playing a lot of 1-tech, 2-eye, maybe some 3 in Davis, but the other two can't really. Maybe Jones can, but I'm not sure. Abraham Lucas being a right tackle only is kind of what hurt me in this one, because I just don't know how we have a healthy right tackle competition. I don't know how you'd kind of add another one to it. So I came away with a C- on that one from Big Trust UK. Next one, this is from Bill. I think this one killed it in the like. So a lot of people were really high on this one when it was replied to. And so you guys will notice this when you see trade back scenarios. Adding that second round pick and a trade back into the 20s allows you to take some luxury picks, or not even luxury picks, but it adds just another kind of top dog into your draft class. So they traded down, they got 24, 56, and 167 for 14 and 196. So they also advance that 6-rounder. They take Andy Booth. Love it. Love Andy Booth. They take Travis Jones at 45. I'm assuming that's a best player available situation. I think he fits, and he's going to be a good kind of pocket pushing 1-tech that can maybe give you a little bit of 3. So I like that. And then they moved up to go get Josh Pascal. Like the aggressiveness there. It's kind of like what I was talking about with that first mock draft where we had 14 picks. If you're going to trade back and assume those picks, move up and get your guys later. So I like that. And then I believe they traded back again here to take Jelani Woods from 76. They get Luke Fortner and Daniel Falale. They take Justin Ross. I just covered him. Kobe Bryant comes in as a second developmental corner. They also got Josh Williams out of Fayetteville State, which I think he's that. I haven't really watched him, so I'm not going to speak on his skill set, but I know he's kind of that small school corner that everybody loves. And they add Tyler Algier. So I gave this one an A-. I did like this one a lot. I really like that trade up to go get your guy with Pascal. I think they checked a lot of boxes with this. Fortner and Falale make a ton of sense. Good value there. Jelani Woods comes in and is kind of that nice move tight end. They add a luxury in Justin Ross. And then, the D-line addition is really nice with Travis Jones. People might feel like they should have been looking for more of a 3/5-tech, but I can see the logic with Jones, especially with a guy like Pascal who can slide in and play some 3-4-eye for you in pass downs. I think that makes sense. So the class really rounded out very well. So I like that one a lot. Yeah, good point, Dan. Some good players, but not enough need targets. That's a fair point. I like the value. I think that's what this one really nailed on for me. Um, Looking at, so I know this is from a guy that's always in the comments here, Don Fowler. I don't know why, but when I wrote his ad in at Fonal Dowler, I laughed at that. I'm like, I'm so exhausted right now from all this draft coverage that I'm just like giggling like a schoolgirl here at everything. So I laughed at that for way too long. So shout out to you, Don. But uh, so we start with Jordan Davis here. Get into George Pickens. You know I love that. Cole Strange. Kinsley Ngambare, Zion McCollum, Rasheed Walker, Alex Wright, Kyron Williams, Okonkwo, and Josh Joby. I gave this one a B, but I'm almost, now that I'm going back through it, I actually almost should have upgraded it. I think what I said earlier, when you do that trade down and get the extra second round pick, taking a guy like Pickens is so helpful because you're able to take like another corner or another edge in that second round, and you feel good about where you're hitting early when you do it here. And like I said, defensive line is still a need, but Jordan Davis almost kind of feels like a luxury a little bit because you have Matabike, you have Pierce. It's still a need. You want that interior pass rush, but I still don't think it's a top three need. So you kind of start your two first picks with out top three needs. It kind of makes it tougher to round out. But I like Ngambare. I think he can move inside for you as well. Alex Wright can as well. So I kind of like those edge rushers, but the lack of a true speed rusher felt like a gap. And then the corners being added in Jobe and McCollum. It's just going to be, I hope they add a vet, because if those guys have to play early, they're both, well, Zion being added at 110, he's a heavy kind of, you're gonna need to develop him a little bit. But I love Rasheed Walker, good addition there. And then my other kind of, and Cole Strange. So, I mean, great additions to the offensive line. I think that's a really good kind of outcome. And then obviously Chiggy fits, and so does Kyron Williams. They bring him in as like a pass catcher. So kind of liked how that one rounded out, but still a B for me. So I'm not overly high on it. But I think it's a really good example of those kind of first two picks, and, just not hitting on a corner and edge with them kind of makes it tough to recover. But I got to give Don credit because he did recover well. I'll give him that, especially because he went O-line with his third pick. But getting that Ongnambari pick in there with Alex Wright, I think I believe in them more than others. So that's kind of what led me there. And then we get our first trade up of the coverage here tonight, where we moved up and gave a future second, which I think makes a lot of sense. Dan, you'd have to tell me if this makes sense trade value chart wise. I'm not sure if it does. I think that has to be a future first, or 45 has to be the pick. But besides the point, PFF trade simulator let it go through. But moving up for Kayvon Thibodeau, it makes a ton of sense. He's a stud. I'll be shocked if he falls out of the top four. But if he does, the Ravens should definitely consider taking advantage if they can make the picks work. It's just going to come down to how much do you want to pay in picks. So then they also added Josh Pascal. So, I mean, there's, two huge additions to your edge rusher group. And I noticed, like I was saying, there's no D-line added in this draft. So that might seem like a bit of a weakness. But what I did like is at least Pascal can slide inside and give you some interior pass rush on obvious pass rushing situations. And then you'd have Owe, Thibodeau, Bowser. So it kind of makes sense in how you put together a four-man line in passing situations. Zach Tom, I love. Daniel Falale, I like. The two of them together makes a really good addition to the O-line. The only thing that's going to worry you, can Falale play left tackle for you day one if Ronnie's not right, or what's your backup plan there? I'm high on Castro Fields, but that's kind of where this draft. So I gave it a B+, and I wanted to give it an A so bad, but I just didn't feel good enough about the corner situation. So that one's a tough one. I also love JoJo Doman, and I like Brian Robinson. So there was so much that I liked, but the corner situation kind of made me feel, like I just wanted more there. But and I also respect, there was, some trade backs. Or no, he moved up for Zach Tom. He moved up, so I like the aggressiveness. So that also looks good. He moved up for Falale. So that's kind of where you run out of picks, right? And that's what I was talking about with other teams that may only have, 4 or 5 picks in the top 4 rounds. This is still a mock that comes out with and this is where you traded picks to move up, you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you still kind of feel like, we didn't really, get everything we wanted, but that's a normal one pick per round for a team. So, it's just kind of funny how it all works out. Checking on the too many trade ups. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Too many trade ups a little bit there, but again, I like the aggressiveness. Go get your guys. So that part of it kind of worked out for me. So this next one from Brandon MA12. So we have McDuffie first round, Tyler Smith, Sam Williams, Fedarian Mathis, Rasheed Walker, Armour Davis, Ungambari, Justin Ross, DeMarco Jackson, Weidemeyer, the tight end that I think everyone is expecting not to get drafted. I think he ran a 5.03 in his 40, which is almost do not draft territory. But I gave this one an A minus. So I love McDuffie. I've made that really well known. I think he's a great fit. Tyler Smith is a guy that you wonder if he can kind of play left tackle day one for you, but he's going to come in and compete at guard, but also provide some tackle ability. So I like that addition to the O-line. Rounding it out with Rasheed Walker makes it really interesting because there's no center added. It's kind of like this is the first time where the second O-line addition was either a guard tackle or a tackle. So it seems like you're just rolling with McCary as your center. But at least you reinforced your left tackle situation where if Ronnie can't get right for week one, well, then you have Tyler Smith competing with Rasheed Walker for the left tackle spot. At least you have a healthy competition. So I like that. Sam Williams, I kind of expect him to be off the Ravens board. But putting Williams with Ongambari, power rusher that can move. Ongambari is a power rusher to move up and down the line. You have Sam Williams, a speed rusher. Love the combination. I know Tony loves that. And then, again, the corner situation is great in this situation because you get Trent McDuffie, day one starter. You're going to have McDuffie, Peters, and Humphrey, and then you add Armour Davis as a developmental outside corner. I think that makes a ton of sense. They take the lottery ticket in Justin Ross. DeMarco Jackson's like that true. He can do a little bit of coverage for you, but he's also going to be like that special team ace most likely. And then they add a tight end in Weidemeyer. I don't really like that pick that much, but it's pick 196 at that point. Who cares? So overall, good draft there. And ZJ's down there in the comments. So ZJ, we are going to get into yours. So I know you are an Andy Booth Jr. guy. And then what you turn around and did is you moved up for Ebiketie. And anybody that watched the mock we did here Sunday night, we debated with Spencer Schultz and Jake Lucan here with me. We debated moving up for Ebiketie after taking Stingley at 14. He fell there. So a similar situation, though Stingley obviously a higher prospect than Booth. But I love the aggressiveness to go up and get Ebiketie. You're kind of you gave 119 to get up there. Makes sense. Again, if you see your guy, use those force and get up there and get them. And then you start corner edge, you go 3 of the 3 biggest needs with the first 3 picks. I love Rasheed Walker. PFF gave him a D. They're not as high on him as I am, which is fine. Jojo Doman's a good pick, good coverage linebacker option. If they're not going to get a true Mike, I hope they get kind of one of those coverage specialists that also projects as a special teamer. And then you add Zion McCollum and Mario Goodrich, 2 guys that really intrigue me as developmental corners. You're probably not adding a vet in this situation, but that's okay. But the only thing that was kind of missing in this one, I gave it an A-. I thought this was a really solid draft. Yes, I see Matt Araiza there. We ain't going to talk about him. But of course, you had a Chiggy and Zaquandre White out of South Carolina. Not the biggest fan of White. But again, it's a running back you're kind of getting to come in and be a third down back or your third running back. So not the end of the world. But I like the aggressiveness to go up there and get Ebiketie. I love getting Rasheed Walker. The only thing that was missing was a center or another offensive lineman. But maybe you could look at this and say, I got 3 corners. I don't need to go get a vet corner. We're going to go get JC Treader. That would put me in a much better space. Punter in the 6th, hashtag devalued. Come on, he's a weapon. He's a weapon. So, good comments in the chat. This one from Almost Quasi. This one I'm really curious to get Dan's opinion on this because this was an intriguing one for me. So we moved all the way back to 27, but picked up a 2023 first round pick rather than another second round pick. And so the reason I gave this one an A, which might surprise you, but I still felt like this draft checked a lot of boxes, despite doing that massive trade back. So they got Bernard Raymond, who I was low on to begin with. And I kind of went back and reevaluated, okay, why am I so low on him? And then I quickly realized it was because in the context of before Morgan Moses was signed and they needed like a right tackle that could maybe play left tackle, Raymond just wasn't a fit. He's not a fit for the right tackle in the run game spot. But he's a true left tackle that would be your emergency backup left tackle that would step in and he can start day one at left tackle. So Raymond in that regard actually makes a ton of sense in the Ravens context. The only thing is if Ronnie gets healthy, what happens? And I get it, but again, you're paying that ultimate insurance and you did it after trading back and picking up a future first, which, you see how many teams this year have multiple firsts. How great would it be for the Ravens to have it, even if it is too late first, because Tampa and Baltimore made the playoffs. So I just see so much value there. And then they turn around and they still get Petrie, who's kind of that slot corner, steps right in. You feel really good about hitting that at 45. They get Ongambari and Robinson, more developmental rushers, but pairing the power rusher with a speed rusher makes a ton of sense to me. Marquise Hayes felt like a little bit of a weird pick because he does seem like a true guard. So that one, I didn't love. But then you turn around and get the developmental corner in Kobe Bryant. They get another tackle option in Kellen Diesch. So you've really kind of filled those spots. They take a risk on Damone Clark, who's really only falling because of a spinal cord issue. But, if he was able to get healthy, he's probably a second rounder in this draft. And then they add the weapon in Matt Araiza. So I think I was so high on this one because I just loved getting that future first round pick. Dan's making a good point in the chat. Depends on how you depreciate the pick. I just, trading back and still getting this haul while having 2 firsts next year, even if it's like what the Chiefs have this year, if it's 29-30, think about what the Chiefs can do with those 2 picks. And then that's the Ravens next year. I don't know. It felt really good with the haul. You might think an A is too high. I just really liked getting that future first while still getting good value throughout the draft. This one's from Message 1991, buddy over in UK. He told me he would be watching this in the morning. So good morning, buddy. I know you're in bed right now. It's probably late. I think it's like, 2:30 where you are? So the Ravens trade down, pick up a second rounder. So we'd love to see that. They take Jordan Davis, get Roger McCreary. I think you feel pretty good about those first 2 picks. Ongambari, they turn around and they get Parham, who's going to be a center, most likely in this situation. Get another corner in McCollum, Jelani Woods, JoJo Doman. We've talked about them. And then this was the only spot that I didn't love is I'm not sure Braxton Jones is kind of the backup left tackle situation. So I still gave it a B+, because I like that early value. I think Parham's a really good fit. We haven't really talked about him yet tonight, but I just think he's a really good fit, and he does move. I think he'd be able to start for you right away, and I think he'd move McCary to that left tackle spot. So that puts less pressure on getting a guy like Braxton Jones later. Now you can really just develop him, but if you need a starter day one at left tackle, it's going to be McCary. And again, you guys know I'm higher on him than most, so I was okay with that situation. And then they rounded out with Kyron Williams and Josh Johnson, so I liked that. So overall, B+. I thought it was a pretty solid draft. I think I just really like Roger McCreary and Dylan Parham. That's really what pushed it up for me. Yuri asks, how late is it going to be for James on draft night? It'd be late. Like if he's up till 11 our time, that's like 5 a.m. his time or something like that. Like it's absurd. So yeah, I like this draft overall. This one's from LR Chibs, which is absolutely not late roam corner. He got his account rocked, but here he is. So let's go through his. He starts with Jermaine Johnson falling to 14, gets Roger McCreary, gets Daniel Falale, takes a luxury pick with James Cook at 100, and turns around and gets Jack Sanborn, linebacker out of Wisconsin, gets Ungambare to go with Jermaine Johnson. I love that pairing. Gets Luke Fortner, who comes in and competes at center. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Okonkwo, Justin Ross, Kellen Diesch, another developmental tackle. So I actually really like this draft. I gave it an A minus. Falale becomes your kind of Falale is such a tough conversation because again, when I did my film room on him, that was before we signed Moses, and we kind of need the right tackle. So I think in the Ravens scheme, what you'd ask of him, he's a fantastic right tackle. But if the Ravens are to draft him now, can he play left tackle for you? But in this situation, and by adding Luke Fortner, who's going to come in and push McCary, again, it kind of moves that he can become your emergency left tackle to get your best five on the line if Stanley's not back, and that might give you a little bit of time to work with Falale, and instead you can really develop him out. You look at a guy like Jordan Mailata, who's probably his best pro comparison. Look what he's been able to do with some developmental time because he was brought onto the Eagles when they had Jason Peters and Lane Johnson for a few years. He wasn't forced to play right away. He was allowed to develop, and now he's a top tackle in the league. So that's kind of what I see with Falale. He's newer to football. He's still developing. He's an alien. He's 6'8", 387. Just nobody's that big that moves like he does. So I really like that situation. Rounding it out and getting a guy like Kellen Diesch, who is also, a left tackle guy, makes a lot of sense. And then I just like the value that kind of get through here. Again, you take that luxury pick and a running back at 100, which I think I had on my do not do in this draft, but it kind of everything worked out where you kind of still got good value, hit on other crucial needs later. The only thing I didn't love and prevented it from being kind of an A was just one corner. So that was the only thing that I kind of wondered about. And there's Hunter hit it. AJ Boye after the draft. I would hope so, but Dan hit on it too. Only one corner, but loved everything else about it. I would really, if there was a corner there instead of something else, that might be an A for me. So let's get into Lucas Balti's draft. Jordan Davis, Kyler Gordon, Cam Thomas, Kobe Bryant, Zach Tom, Strong, Robinson, Azudu. First time we're seeing Azudu. I love him. Guard only prospect. Can play a little bit of tackle, most likely. Luke Cady and Amari Carter, safety out of Miami. I gave it a B minus. I think my big issue with this draft is I'm not high on Cameron Thomas, so that's kind of what hurt this one in terms of rounding out the needs early on. I do like Kyler Gordon. I know ZJ's down there. He's lower on Gordon than me. I just like him. I think he fits here. I think he's going to be an inside-outside option, so I like that fit. I do like Zach Tom in this situation. That was the only, kind of he's listed as a tackle, but between him and Azudu was a tackle for North Carolina, but a lot of people see him as a guard at the next level. So, it does kind of make you wonder about the O-line situation here. Is it Zach Tom pushes McCary out, but then is Azudu like a tackle / guard? So it was kind of a weird fit there because Tom can also play a little bit of tackle for you. So it was just a weird shakeout. I think I made it clear I really want at least one true tackle in this draft. So I felt like we didn't get that. And I just feel like Cameron Thomas isn't good enough to kind of be the top edge added. Dominique Robinson could be good in a few years. He's going to need some development. Luke Cade is an interesting kind of McPhee type guy. That's how I see him being used at the next level. Maybe he can play some downhill Mike for you. There were some solid picks. I do like Kobe Bryant. I feel like the corners were kind of hit nice. Jordan Davis is obviously a great pick. Zach Tom's a good center to bring in. I think he could really push McCary out year one. So that was a couple things that I did like about that one. This was the first time here that we got a big trade back, and Garrett went and did the KC trade up. So he got 29 and 30, and he also moved up to 41. But I think 81's different than 100. So there was some other movement. I don't have the full summary of the trades, but he moved back and he took Ojabo Mafe, right? So he's looking to get some speed demons in Baltimore. So I thought that was an interesting one where you kind of move back and you get that extra first round pick. And I'm assuming he must have exchanged another pick at some point and threw in a bunch of force. I can't figure that. I should have asked for the trade summaries on these. But Ojabo's interesting in the situation where you get Mafe. I'm not that high on Mafe, so that kind of hurt it for me. I'm also low on Leal. I did end up giving it a B plus because it was a unique draft. I thought he got good value. I felt really good about the O line additions, which probably biases me a lot. I just think Strange and Walker is one of the best center tackle combinations the Ravens could kind of do. But I don't mind Leal at 76. So that probably was boiling in my head. But I like the uniqueness of getting Ojabo and Mafe. At least with Ojabo, you get the 5th-year option. Mafe comes in as a speed rusher right away. I already made it clear I was pretty high on Kyler Gordon, but still only one corner. That's kind of one of those things with trading up at other spots as you sacrifice later force to round out and double dip at certain positions. And then Dameon Pierce, I'm really high on, and Justin Ross, I'm high on. So, I mean, there was some things to like, some things I didn't like. I ended on a B plus. Now that I'm looking at it, I might actually lower that to a B. Curious what you guys are thinking here in the chat. Yeah. Oh, no comments on that one. Okay. This one's from, I called him Bolak Dawson. I hope I'm saying that right. He did the trade back with Detroit to get 32 and 34. He also got 66 and threw in 110, 119, 141 to get it done. So leverage a bunch of force basically to move back from 14 to 32 and 34, and then also move up from 110 to 66 there. So he starts with Ebiketie, great pick. 5th-year option on him. That's real nice. And then I'm assuming we traded back from 34 and added 100 to pick up 40 and 72, which is interesting to kind of stack top 80 picks. You end up with 66, 72, 76. And then he turns around and he gets Pickens. I love it. He gets Jalen Petrie. He gets Perion Winfrey as a true 3 tech to kind of come in here. Zach Tom as a center option. Jalen Armour Davis, Chiggy, Brian Robinson, Smoke Monday. I gave it an A minus. And I think the first thing you guys are going to wonder, but Cole, he didn't get a left tackle. I just really think Zach Tom could push McCary out there and kind of give you that emergency left tackle option. So that compared with how much value you seem to get in the top 80 here, like you're getting, Tom, Winfrey, Petrie, Pickens, Ebiketie, it kind of checks a lot of boxes for me in terms of needs. And then, Chiggy and Brian Robinson are two of my favorite kind of tight end running back combinations. And Smoke Monday just has a cool name. So, I mean, props there to him. He drafted Smoke Monday and equals an A. There's the dad. The dad's here for violence, folks. That's the man that wants Penning and Karlaftis, crazy psycho. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. We had a lot of fun on the timeline the other day. So we go to Felipe Apera here. Jordan Davis, Gordon Strange, Jackson Robinson, Miaje Sanders, Walker, Okonkwo, Ross, and Sam Webb. I gave it a B plus. Kind of liked it. I remember I went through this one and I didn't love it. And then I really kind of thought about how they'd slot in. I think I'm just higher on Drake Jackson and Miaje Sanders than a lot of people. So, it felt kind of, do we want to do that with waiting on edge, but getting Jackson and Sanders as kind of two true speed rusher guys, it was kind of intriguing to me. You get Gordon, who again, I think is an inside-outside option to fit right away. You add a developmental guy in Sam Webb, so it checks that double dip at corner box. Maybe you don't get corner as early as you'd want to. I love the Strange Walker combination. And then Jordan Davis is just an alien. So, that part of this one really intrigued me. And then B Raven's thoughts. I realized I screwed up posting this. I have like his edit photo mode on. B Raven's thoughts. You got to charge your phone, buddy. I have your full screenshot. So this was another move back to 32-34 option. Goes Ebiketie Jones and then trades up for Pickens. I'm gonna love that. And then add Salyer, five position guy, gets James Cook. Don't know a lot about Cordell Float. ZJ, if you're down there, if you watched him, kind of put a little summary in the chat. Added Alontae Taylor, who I like and for some reason PFF hates. Chigi Okonkwo again, Alex Wright. So I gave it a B. I'm kind of sitting here wondering why I only gave it a B. I'm wondering if it was because of the O-line situation. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it again, I think Salyer could really push, McCary again. That's kind of the key. If you're not getting a tackle, it's can you get a center to push McCary out to tackle? And I think Salyer can. So I'm wondering why I was so low on him. Maybe the corner situation with just adding Float and Alontae Taylor, that feels kind of underwhelming. But I like the D-line additions in Jones and Matt Butler. That kind of adds young depth that everybody wants. I think Ebiketti's, I remember now, no double dip at edge, and then the cornerback double dip being underwhelming. That's what it was. But they did double dip at edge. There's Alex Wright. I should have wrote notes apparently. So yeah, I'll stick with a B, maybe bump it up a little bit because I do think Salyer, I know that would have been in my head. So I think, Salyer does kind of push him out there. So only one O-line kind of makes you wonder. It really comes down to the numbers game. If you add a true center, you mush McCary out there. Do you feel good enough do you feel good enough about the rest of your depth? I think they could, because it would leave them in a situation where they may carry, you'd have, it comes down to Stanley, which is always tough. But if you had 4 tackles on your roster and say Salyer pushes McCary out, you have McCary, Stanley, James, Moses. So it's that kind of tough setup, which makes it's like, how do you add another tackle? If you do add another tackle, does that move? And then McCary becomes a 5-spot guy, so it pushes a guard off. What do you do with Cleveland and Tyree Phillips? It's just like, I don't know, it kind of creates a complicated mess. This one from King Camp, trades up for Thibodeau, gets Petrie, Parham, Deesh, Kobe Bryant, Damone Clark, Chiggy and Matareza. So I gave it an A-. I think I'm just really in love with moving up to get Kayvon Thibodeau. Again, I think the value's off here. Depends on how you depreciate that future second-round pick. I feel like if you're moving up for Kayvon Thibodeau, moving from 14 to 6, you're probably giving, and you're only giving up 100 this year. I feel like you probably have to give a future first at a minimum. So I did kind of look at that, but I mean, PFF lets it go through, so it is what it is. Again, I like the O-line situation here. Parham probably competes right away at center. Deesh can be a true left tackle in the NFL. Petrie and Kobe Bryant are a good corner option. There was no double dip at edge, and there was a lack of D-line addition. And then there was also a trade for James Bradbury at the bottom. So this is kind of cheating because you can't do this in every single one. So you make like assumptions of they'll do this. But because he went the extra mile and put Bradbury in there, I had to bump up the grade. And then we get to Mr. _ Yuri. Dan, I got the Bradbury one there. Next time I'm writing notes though, because I think I wrote all this down and then it's on my laptop somewhere else. So Yuri gets aggressive, gets up there to pick 8 and gets Thibodeau. He gives up 1476 and a future third. I feel like that would have to be at least a future second. But either way, trade went through. So we trade up, we get Thibodeau. Then we trade back and we still get Roger McCreary, while also adding pick 82 and getting Jamari Salyer, and then getting Miyaje Sanders. So Thibodeau Sanders is one hell of a combination. And then McCreary, Alontae Taylor is also a hell of a combination. And then Salyer with Cade Mays, who he's listed as a tackle here, but he's probably a true guard at the next level. And Matt Waletzko, who's a developmental tackle. I like that combination of offensive line. It's a little, I'd be surprised if they add 3, but if Cade Mays is kind of the BPA at 196, is pick 196, it is what it is. They add Neil Farrell, who could add a little bit of depth on the inside, and then they get Chiggy and Brian Robinson. So I like this one a lot. I gave it an A, and I hated it because, I don't want to sit here and compliment Yuri, but it was one of the better ones that I was sent. Dan's out there trying to give him an F. So I like the combination. I feel like a lot of the boxes were checked. I feel like there's good value. You feel really good about your D-line in this one. That's a pretty potent addition to the edge rushing situation. I feel like McCreary would really succeed in Baltimore. Alontae Taylor is a good addition. So just, again, checks a lot of boxes there. This one from at TB Quiz. Trade back for Karlaftis. It's the first time we're seeing a Karlaftis mock tonight. So he trades back, picks up 49 and throws in 76. Would be curious on the JJ value there. Maybe you had to just only move back 2 spots. Either way, upgrading 76 to 49 was good value. And starting off Karlaftis Petrie actually makes a lot of sense to me. It's just that Abraham Lucas pick killed me. I think he's a right tackle. I don't think he's an overly great right tackle. Really struggled to anchor. Jelani Woods is a good addition. Loved the Justin Ross pick. I've said that. Then they go true guard with Marquise Hayes. Kellen Diesch is a good addition, so I like that part of the O-line. No center, though. That kind of bugged me. Josh Joby, kind of complements Petrie really well, so I could see that. Farrell's a good addition. Brian Robinson's a good addition. So I landed on a B-. I think if you do something different with that Abraham Lucas pick and really nail those top 3, that I would have been a lot higher on this draft. But going Abraham Lucas, adding a true guard Marquise Hayes just didn't feel like the right moves there. It always depends on what's on the board. But those, the dad's looking for it here, but I don't think there was one Penning mock. I almost put in my own because I was like, what would it look like to have a Trevor Penning mock? But it didn't seem to come. And then I think this is our last one, Rave to the Moon. So Jordan Davis, Petrie, Benito, Brandon Smith. First time we're seeing Brandon Smith. Athletic freak out of Penn State. They add Rasheed Walker and Luke Fortner, great O-line additions. Matt Butler, Armour Davis, Chase Lucas. I gave it a B. That really comes down to the corner additions. I do like Petrie, but going with 3 corners 2 later didn't really seem like the best way to go, especially when you only come away with 1 edge. So that kind of stood out to me. I do like the O-line additions. I thought that made sense. Matt Butler's a good addition. I don't love Brandon Smith, so that also hurt me in this one. But it kind of felt like we went Jordan Davis, and then you kind of turn around and go off-ball linebacker with your top 4 picks. There's just bigger fish to fry if you're going to start a mock with Jordan Davis. That's just my opinion on that. I would have preferred a double dip with one of those second corners at an edge spot, get a developmental speed guy with one of the 4th-round picks. So that is the summary of Mock Draft Mania. We kept her under an hour, so it was pretty good. I'm going to challenge you guys to go out there. ZJ's trying to put ZJ. If you can get me that really quick, I'll go grab it. If you can get me that, or should we go in? I have you guys here. Hold on. Let's just do this. I think I still have it shared. Let's just go in and do it ourselves. Why not? The Draft Network mock draft machine. Won't surprise anybody that I have easily accessed this about 100 times lately. Make this big. Can everybody see this? We're doing a Penning mock live. It's about to get weird in here, folks. So let's go 7. This should be its own segment. Penning mock. Okay, so we're going to do this together. Obviously, we'll run it to 14. This is going to be history. This is going to be history. All right, so let's get to 14. So, this is, it's funny because this is exactly how you could see the board falling. We'd all be screaming to trade up to 11 here to get Hamilton or Jermaine Johns. How much does this feel like draft night right now? This is great. Okay, so there's Penning. The Ravens take him. I'm not going to do a bunch of trades. We probably could, but we'll sit here and argue with each other for too long. So the Ravens go Trevor Penning at 14 instead of trading up to 11 for Jermaine Johnson or Kyle Hamilton. Ravens flock Twitter is in an absolute meltdown right now. I won't do a trade up just for the fun of it. Oh, we could trade up for Linderbaum. That would have been just fantastic. So let's take a look. Perrion Winfrey, Quay Walker. You got Travis Jones, Petrie. I'm thinking it's Petrie. It's Petrie. There's McCreary. There's really no edge unless you guys. So You guys comment right now. Do you want to go Petrie or do you want to go with like a Josh Pascal? What are you guys saying here? Table flip. What do you guys got on this, or else I'll just default pick so we're not here all day. Let's go with Petrie, I think. Unless someone... No one's comment. All right, let's go with Petrie. Get a slot corner, address the corner situation. I feel like you kind of have to in that situation. Corner just drops off. McCreary versus Petrie is a good argument. I just think Petrie could really fit here. But, this is kind of how you feel. So we're going into the third round now. We haven't hit edge, and it's going to fall off quick here. So maybe you justify the Penning pick by trading up for one of those other spots later. But you're probably not feeling great right now. All right, let's go take a look. See, now I feel hamstrung into edge, and that's kind of what kills me. Drake Jackson's down there. You got Sam Williams. I just can't see them taking Sam Williams. I'm thinking Cole Strange or Cam Taylor-Britt, Cam Jurgens. Or you go with Drake Jackson. That would be the ones that make sense to me. I'm thinking Drake Jackson because by 100 you're probably it's Cole Stranger or Drake Jackson. Let's go with let's go with Cole Strange just because he has a cool first name. Okay, so now we've heavily addressed offensive line. So I suppose in this outcome, you can't really ever say they didn't do what they had to protect Lamar Jackson. So that's a positive outcome. Looks like we might still get Drake Jackson. Oh, we got to go Drake Jackson here. Yeah. Oh, we just went the pick before. Cleveland. That is devastating. Let's go Miage. We're going to reach for Miage because we have to. We need a Reza. You guys are trying to cause absolute chaos. Maximum chaos. I see Fedarian Mathis. I see... See, the real downside of this is you can't draft Rasheed Walker now. It doesn't make sense. So that hurts my feelings. I'm going to go with Fedarian Mathis and hit the interior defensive line. And then... Okay, so we got Dolman. We got... I'm thinking maybe D'Angelo Malone. Can go on Gambari. You could wait and get Alex Wright. I do love Alex Wright. Or did Wright go? Did he? Or is he just rated really low? He's 220 now. Okay, we'll get him later. That's how you manipulate the machine. What are you guys seeing here? Yeah, I'm going to get Alex Wright later, I think. Let's go with Damian Beavers, linebacker to Cincy. I think that would make sense. I just don't love how this draft is coming together. I'm gonna probably go corner here and probably go Martin Emerson. I haven't watched a ton of them, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to talk about them. But I feel like you need to double dip at corner. We're gonna go Alex Wright, and then we're going to go with maybe Pierce. Is Chick there? The Chick went 135 to the Chiefs. Can't do it. Go Charlie Kohler. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of how a Trevor Penning mock kind of feels. I rushed this. I didn't really focus, but you kind of. But at the same time, Penning and Strange, you feel pretty good about the O-line additions. Shay goes, already grading this a B-. This is great. ZJ said he sent me a mock. Yeah, he traded up to number 1 for Trevor Penning, and then he traded up to 4th overall for George Karlaftis, and Mr. Dad is out there cheering. But we'll kind of wrap her here. This is a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for coming in the comments and joining me. I definitely feel like this.
I think I've just talked myself into Trevor Penning, where it's not going to be the end of the world. But you kind of see how a draft could maybe round out. So it is what it is. But Thursday's almost here, and then we can have all these questions kind of answered with what they're going to do with 14. So thanks so much for joining me, guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Peace out, everyone.